Secretary of Uganda, of KCCA, Jennifer Musisi, and I held her hand and I said, but they could know you for a long time, you know? Those are the experiences that come with this great thing called UNA. I had been pitching to my good friend, you know, Gala at the time. You know, he had just moved from the bank to NSSF, and I couldn't get him. And right there, I had the opportunity to invite Richard Biarugaba on the stage, and I looked at him and said, we're going to have a glass of whiskey after this. It's like, he's got, you know, so excited, it's like, you finally got me. What I'm trying to explain is that UNA is a great platform, and from UNA we have made great connections. And those
ladies and gentlemen, I've been lucky that I was able to give 4 years of my life to you. Actually 8. I first served as UNA secretary for 4 years, took sabbatical, and then came back to serve as president. You also, 2019 when I took over as president, we found a fractured organization. People were tearing each other apart. UNA had become something else. I remember my first trip to Uganda, every door that I knocked on to try to get people to come on as partners, to come and become sponsors, to come and just support us as UNA, a lot of negativity was going on. People could not even sometimes return our calls. Our envoy had to slave and beg these people to come and work with us. But we did not stop. We said we will knock on those doors, we'll keep persevering until we put our foot inside their doors. A lot of them were telling us, UNA is now just a joke. All you do is you go and party. You are not a serious entity that we should even be looking at. And we told them, please give us a chance. Let's turn things around. And am I proud that I worked alongside some good leaders that were able to actually turn this thing around. Today, as I stand, I am proud of the organization that I handed over to Mr. Etibot and his executive. And I know a lot of people have been trying to criticize him. A lot of people keep saying Henrietta has left big shoes to fill. But I'm here to let you know that I think you underestimate Mr. Etibot. That guy is going to shock the heck out of you all. He is going to deliver 110% because I've worked with him. I know what he's capable of. Lambert is one of the most hardworking people that I know I've worked alongside in UNA. Now, forget the person who mentored me, Mr. Moses Wilson. That one is a workaholic. But when it comes to Mr. Etibot, that is someone who slaves. You saw him in San Francisco, when in Miami, I think. The man was in a wheelchair, but he was trying to make sure all things were working in UNA, and by then he wasn't even a leader. That kind of person is a rare breed to find as a volunteer in UNA. So I'm here to let you know that when I stand behind somebody and say, I think this person is someone we should actually mentor and see that they go and help keep leading this organization for the next generations. I think by now, I've got some good sense of knowing who a good leader is. I don't think I'm that bad. So I'm here to let you know that I think UNA right now is in the right hands as we stand today. I know you had a lot. Some of us were being dragged in the mud. When these guys were campaigning, you would have thought Henrietta was on a ballot. Henrietta was in the newspapers every day. Henrietta was being abused. Henrietta was being accused of everything. But what my mother told me during all this fracas, when she read what was going on, she told me, my daughter, When your name is mentioned in corridors, whether they are good or bad, it means that you are shaking tables and actually making miracles out there. So your name is worth to be spoken about, and it's going to go beyond UNA. So what I want to encourage you all as Ugandans here today, Ugandans that love your entity, or even those who pretend to love it and actually are trashing it, please, UNA is for the people that you leave it to. UNA does not belong to any single individual. UNA belongs to the members, but we all have to uphold its values. Let's not pretend to love the entity and then go and write all these negative stories about it to drag it in the mud. Because once you do that, you may think you're hurting Henrietta, but no, you're hurting the entity. Henrietta will walk out of this room, will go and live her life, the best of her life. But the entity will try to go and solicit for sponsors, and people will be reading what you wrote and cut you off. Today, as I speak, I received a call, by the way, from the embassy, because there's something that was written to me, was written about me with the embassy, the ambassador. And they said, this doesn't look good for your entity. In fact, it may affect your visa processes from Uganda. So these negative stories that people try to put out there are not hurting us. They are hurting the entity you love. Do you know how many people have come in this country because of UNA? You guys in this room may even have your relatives that you've brought through the entity. But because of some, just a few individuals with their maliciousness, they are actually making it difficult for your relatives to even come here. So I want to appeal, work with the current leadership, work with the Etibot executive. The person that I worked with as my secretary, I know him. I think he has the best interest for this organization. That I know for sure. And to Mr. Etibot, as we have been speaking, I don't know how many times a day. And all the time, I used to tell you that whatever decision you make as a leader in UNA, always ask yourself, how is this going to affect UNA? Even when you are approached by sometimes your own friends, and they want you to do something, and it doesn't feel right by the entity, ask yourself, how is this going to affect UNA before you take any step? Forget about what you hear. Forget about what is written about us. Some of us, that's how we have led this entity. You heard from Elvis. Elvis can tell you, we have had very difficult conversations where I would question him and ask him, so how do you think this is going to affect us? Do you think we are going to break even? Do you think this is right by the membership? And we would sometimes stand some of the decisions that have been brought to the table. So I trust Mr. Etibot and his executive. I know they are going to lead UNA on a greater path than I even led it. The Lord is going to be at their helm. Shani, I've always told you, I have my alarms. I only survived as a UNA leader because of the Lord. I pray 3 times a day. I sometimes used to forget and I have an alarm and Shani is like, oh, that's your alarm for praying. But it works. Lambert, it works. Prayer works. That's the only way you're going to be able to lead this organization. To Miss Pamela Etibot, you are a lady that has stepped into bigger shoes as First Lady. I just have a few words for you. You're going to hear people come to you with stories or whatever, but stand by your man. He will lead you now, and you two will make us proud. This is a family organization, and I know it's going to be reflected in how you are as a couple. So with those words, I really am proud that Yuna is strong today. Now, I've had, by the way, I used to hear some things, hey, about mafia. Some people are really weird. You come with these weird stories. What you have to know is what I have seen in Yuna is when people come for Yuna, you'll be surprised at how much people love Yuna. You'll find even someone who doesn't usually speak come to fight for Yuna. I think you guys remember that Kauma Artigo fight in 2017. That's the day I realized Yuna is loved by so many people. So whatsoever you hear out there, always discredit. Come and always ask the leaders what really goes on in Yuna. Hold them accountable. Ask them for reports. They'll give them to you. Mafia. Those are Ugandan stupid stories that told out there. So forget about it. But for now, I would like to introduce our Yuna president, the man from Teso, as Daniel said. The man, by the way, that was also has a touch of Busoga. Busoga raised that man. Hey! When you see something good, you know Busoga has a touch on it. Mr. Lambert Etibot, Your Excellency, welcome.